This is the theme of Setback and Misery, Annie's Bluff, select frames. So Annie comes in kind of depressed and she talks about how the rain depresses her. I think really here that Annie has realized that he has actually been out of the room. The penguin truly confirms it. And that fact has really depressed her because now she wonders if he has actually been walking out of the room. And so she's depressed. And Paul asks, "What is it?" And she says, "The rain gives her the blues. We don't know why." And then she says to him, "When you first came here, I only loved the writer. Now I love the rest of him," right? In terms of Paul Sheldon. And you don't have to say it back. I'm not a movie star type. Never. I'm not a movie star type. But and then she makes a statement. You never know fear of losing someone like you. Like you don't. If you are someone like me, I better say that. Say that again. That you never would know the fear of losing someone like you if you were someone like me, right? That she is self-assessing herself as not being someone really suitable for Paul. Um, that's why I say her whole goal has changed because now she has moved from being the nurse to trying to be the editor and publisher or whatever to now trying to be a possible mate for him, right? And she's hoping that there's something that he could say that would maybe um, demonstrate to her that she might be a person who could sort of be a wife to him or be someone special to him. And so she has said the word love earlier in the movie when she dropped the soup on the bed. Um, she said, "I just love you, Paul," or whatever. Then she corrected herself and said, "Your work," right? Your books, things like that. But again, it's hard to tell about Annie sometimes. She may be truly depressed by the rain. And I don't think we've had any rain in the film. It's all been snow and blizzards and things like that. But she might actually be depressed. But again, if she knows he has been leaving the room, she may be putting on an act here. It's interesting how the color scheme between her robe and his shirt. It's not completely plaid, her robe, but his shirt is. And it's sort of interesting that their colors match. And so um, he doesn't really respond to that when she says you would never know the fear of losing someone like you if you were if you are someone like me. And he says, "Well, why would you lose me?" And she says, well, the book is almost finished. um, Legs are getting better, and you soon will want to leave. And how does she know that the legs are getting better? She hasn't dressed them in a long time in the film. She hasn't examined them. She hasn't uh, positioned herself as a nurse or returned to her skill development as a nurse to confirm that. She hasn't done that. That could be the uh, prerogative of the writer and director to not have Annie do that. But how would she know that? She's basing his legs getting better on the assumption and the suspicion that he has been leaving the room, and he must be leaving the room on his legs, right? But she knows that the wheelchair can come out of the room because, after all, they just had dinner. So that's also a possibility as well. But she's focusing on the legs, and we have to assume when she focuses on the legs that she knows something that we don't know. And then She gets into some kind of spiel here, just reflecting her depression, reflecting her feelings for Paul. I honestly don't think they're true feelings. I don't think you can love someone and trap them and kidnap them and keep them from the world and isolate them. I don't think that's love. Um, that's something else. So then she pulls out a gun, and it's interesting. Paul doesn't try to stop her from using it. He doesn't ask, why do you have a gun? What are you going to do with the gun? See, a person who is concerned about another person will say certain things. Why do you have that gun? You don't need that gun. I'm here for you, Annie. It's going to be all right. So that lets you know Paul had already decided that he was going to leave. That's all that basically means. And so it didn't matter if she decided to shoot herself. Okay, all right, she shoots herself. It'll take me a little bit of time to get out of his house, but that's on her, right? But there's nothing in him that says, don't do this, Annie, you know? And maybe he is interpreted as her maybe wanting to shoot him. And I think it's a good bluff, right? That's why I say Annie is not as true to her nature as she's presenting, that she may be acting here as well. I often wonder why people like to use a gun as a solution to a problem. And she says here that I might put bullets in it. Why are you bluffing? You know, I've always wondered this, and this may sound kind of stupid, but I always wonder why there were murder suicides, right? That if you just wanted to kill yourself, why kill me too? Why kill the other person too? Just go on ahead and kill yourself. Because they don't plan on killing themselves. Vain, narcissistic people don't want to kill themselves. Annie was never going to kill herself. I don't believe it. She has a gun and she put 2 bullets in the gun. And when she kills Buster and she brings back the needle with some content in it, as well as the gun. So if the needle, the contents of the needle were going to be strong enough to take him out, why would you need to then shoot him? Right? I don't believe she was going to shoot Paul. I believe that she was, shoot herself. She was going to shoot Paul, take herself down. Now, after Buster, the bullets in the gun, the two bullets in the gun, she may actually have felt compelled to go on ahead and try to shoot herself, because then everyone will be looking for Buster, right? He is the sheriff of the town. But when she's holding a gun here in particular, I don't think she's really wanting to kill herself. I think she's trying to scare him, right? Scare him out of leaving, scare him into continually writing the book or whatever. But it's just a bluffing tool for her, because I might put some bullets in it or whatever, like as if she's really going to kill herself. She's not going to kill herself. Vain, narcissistic people don't kill themselves unless they have no other choice, like the police are coming after them or something like that, and they don't want to go to jail, right? Other than that, I just never believed that she was going to do that. And so Paul looks at the gun, right? He's preoccupied with the gun. And I don't know what Paul's history is with guns. I mean, if someone is holding a gun, you expect them to use it, right? But he also understands too, much later in the movie at the end, that she cares about that book. But Annie's antics have really silenced him, that he's really not a man in this situation. He's really not functioning in the same way a man would. And Annie is really trying to pursue a love interest with Paul, but he's so preoccupied with the fact that she wants the book that he can't see that. Because if she had just come off like that at first, a man who doesn't want a woman would have initially started being very aggressive in terms of resisting her. But Paul acts very much like he's in his feminine here. It is unclear why why Annie is looking at Paul, other than to say she's searching for a certain response from him beyond why would I leave, right? She's searching for something. And the eyes tell a lot. And we don't know what she's searching for because she doesn't quite tell us, other than the little moments that she might have, like when she dropped the soup and she basically said, "I love you, Paul." But she doesn't really reveal too much other than that. And of course, her love for his book. But when you look at Annie, you have to wonder what she is thinking, what she is planning, if she's going to make good on her promise to put bullets in the gun. But she's up to something. And I don't quite believe that she's going to just sort of return to the house without any real purpose behind what she's saying. She's not going to kill him early, of course, but she's up to something. These eyes say a lot about Annie. Her hair says a lot about her. The fact that she's in a robe, and it's evening, she would be in a robe, but every time she has entered that room, she has entered that room with regular clothes on, as neatly as she can get them based upon her own style. And so to come into the room, even at nighttime, with a robe and hair disheveled and no makeup, nothing to say anything beyond, this is how I look, accept me for who I am. And maybe that's what those eyes are telling us, to accept me for who I am. This is me. This is really me. All those other times I've been showing you a face, right? But this is truly me. And yes, it's raining, and I'm saying that I'm depressed because of the rain, but this is truly me. Well, Paul in some ways is saying or suggesting the same thing. There's a real him that wants to come out, but he's been hiding behind the misery series because it's economically, financially feasible for him to do so. But as he has noted, I didn't plan on making it my life, meaning that he's been wearing a mask. Maybe the first book, maybe the second book, maybe the third book, maybe the fourth book. But by that end of the fourth, beginning of the fifth, he's been wanting to take off the mask. And it just seems like no one will let him take off the mask. And Annie is sort of taking off her mask. That this is actually the true me. And whatever I have been presenting to you has been fake. And I'm really looking for you to accept the true me, and then we can go on ahead and go on to greater things in our makeshift relationship. Now, that may not be completely a valid, solid, critical analysis, but if you contrast how she looks right now with every time she has come into the room, and no, Annie is not fancy, and she's not going to dress fancy. And she even says, I'm not the movie star type, right? But she has come in presentable, even if the clothes were, dowdy and or whatever. She was put together. Her hair was combed, pulled back, or whatever. When she dressed for dinner, she put some makeup on, curled her hair. She has always looked presentable. She's always looked presentable. So then you have to wonder, prior to her rescuing Paul, if she looked like this the whole time? And that when Paul came along, she started to change her look because she wanted to look presentable, because she's his number one fan. And so as his number one fan, she wants to look like a fan, right? Not like someone who just got out of bed, just got out of a mental health facility or something like that, just got out of jail. She wanted to look presentable. So if you contrast how she's looking right now with all of the different times she has come into the room, you have to assume that this is the true Annie. As much as she has presented a face to us, a mask to us, and she has learned us. We have learned to accept her in back capacity or whatever. That was, we were attending Annie Wilkes University in a sense, right? And how she dressed, how she interacted, how she engaged, how she nursed, how she had a temper with Paul. But this is the true Annie. This is the Annie, I believe, and I'm just going to go out on a limb and assume this. I think this is the Annie that has been walking around the house the whole time, from the time she was let go from the hospital and charged with the baby deaths. And I think this is the actual true Annie. And the times that she felt compelled to get into her car and drive up to where Paul Sheldon was residing in that cabin and writing, she pulled herself together. I don't think it was perfect, but she pulled herself enough together. But then when she realized he had crashed and she went in and rescued him and brought him back, I think that brought some kind of hope to her. And of course, women in general are going to pull themselves together in front of a man, even if the man is not our man, because we want to look like something. We'll comb our hair, put on a little bit of lipstick, try to find the right kind of outfit, right? And then continue to try to look like something. But I think this is the true Annie, that she's been showing us a mask the whole time. So Annie leaves out of the house unpresentable, right? What if she was pulled over by the sheriff or something like that? But she leaves out of the house unpresentable, in a robe and a gown, with her hair unkempt, and in the rain. And remember, she's saying that the rain is what depresses her. So if something depresses you, why would you walk in the rain? Again, it has to be an act. And so now we have the back of Annie. And remember, I always like to take screenshots of the back of a character. And so again, we don't know what Annie's history is, what the back reveals, what the burdens she has had, past responsibilities. So then we're now going to get information about Annie's past, Annie's back, Annie's history. When Paul leaves the room again and he finds her photo album on the table, and he reads the history of Annie, essentially. And again, I think that was a whole setup, that she left the photo album on the table on purpose. And that could have been just to see if he turned the pages and if he remembered to leave it on the page that she was on. And so Paul turns his head to look out at Annie, because remember, this is Annie's habit. She goes, she leaves, she drives off in the car, and Paul looks out the window to see where she's going. Of course, he can't go where she's going. And so Annie is walking down the stairs, and I don't think it's just the rain that depresses her. I think it's the idea that she's going to have to give him up. That's really what that look is, that she knows that she has to give him up, but she knows it, and maybe she can visualize it, but by the end of the movie, she's not going to want to do it. And she's going to fight him at every turn to keep from letting him leave. But I think this is her feeling, that she doesn't want to give him up. All right, like, subscribe, and visit. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for more discussions. You can visit my YouTube channel for further film analysis. It's Favorites Film Analysis as the title of the channel. You can always send me an email and ask me a question, reginayfavorites@yahoo.com. My Overcoming Setback, 5 Keys for Entering and Exiting Correction book will become available around October 2021. I'm still doing some editing. The book does not focus on film analyses, but I use the content that I created for the book to support my my perceptions of setback used as a theme in select films. So When the book becomes available, I will send out a notification video, audio. Thank you very much for visiting the channel.